Welcome back to our learning session. Today, we'll be talking about accessing data. In last lecture, we talked about importing data. We'll be using same data objects to access this time. So let's begin. First of all, we'll use summary function to inspect the data. What does summary function do? Can you guess? Summary function helps you summarize the data by producing the statistical values for numeric columns. Let me show you. Wherever there's a numeric column, numeric values, it produces some statistics for those columns. Now we have inspected those statistics. We'll comment out so that we can try different command. Let me comment this out. Secondly, let's try structure command or structure function that helps to identify the structure of a table or data frame. We want to see what does the structure of the data frame look like. Let's run this. It says there are quite a few columns here. There are 47 variables or 47 columns, and there are around 5,000 rows in this data frame. Now let me copy some column. I'll be inspecting, or I'll be doing some exploratory data analysis on, so that I have it handy, and comment out so that I don't want to run this column. It doesn't make any sense. Now I have that. Let me comment this out as well. Now let's inspect how many rows this data frame has. We already know it's 5,120, but what if you want to just give a single number? What if I want to get just single number instead of all this information in the screen? There's a command for that. Can you guess what it is? Let me show you. nrow sample CSV file. This will give the number of rows in a given data frame. Once I have it, let me comment it out as well to keep the screen clean. Next one is max. How do we get the maximum value for a given column? Can you tell me how? Yes, we use max function for that. Let me use max function. What would be the input for this function? It will be the column name we are interested in. Sample CSV and estimated to store population number. That's what I'm interested in. Let me run this. This is the number that's the maximum for this particular column. That's interesting. It's such a huge number, isn't it? Now, let me find what's the minimum for this particular column. Let me copy and paste this inside a brackets. 1,129. It's a small number. These two numbers are different in order of 100,000. That's amazing. Let me comment them out because we don't need them anymore. How do you find the unique values for a given column? Can you guess? Let me show you how to do it. For that, we use the unique function. Unique function is a function we use, and we use a command that's inside. We use a column name that this function intakes to compute the unique values of a given column. These are the unique values for this given column. These values are not sorted in any ways. We want to sort them so that it's easier to look at. Let me sort them using sort command. And let me comment this out as well because I don't need this anymore. Let me run it. There you go. We have these values in sorted order, nicely sorted. This is such a huge, there are so many values on a screen. Can you guess how can we see how many values we have in this vector? Let me show you. We use the length function for that to size the vector, and once we have that, I'll just input the vector producing function inside the function length. And let me comment out because we don't this need anymore. And let's see what we get after we run this. 5114. That many unique values this column have. Interesting, isn't it? Now, once we have this, do you know how to we can filter for a certain condition? How you can filter a data frame for a certain condition? Can you tell me how to do that? We can do that using which function. This is one of the most useful function in R. Which function? Which, and I can use the same column name we have been using in prior commands to filter for something. We can filter for the lowest value we have in this column is 1129. And let me comment this out so that it doesn't get crowded. And when we run this thing, unexpected error. We have an extra bracket here. I'm going to remove this and run this again. And 4540. What is this? This is the row number of the data frame. That means if I go to this row, I can find the row that satisfies this condition. Now, suddenly I'm interested to see what is the size of this output. How do I do that? You're right. I can still use the length function to do this. Let me show you. I use the length function here to size this vector. After we have done this thing, let me comment this out so that we can look at the other functions that may be useful for accessing the data. One particularly useful function are is matrix. It identifies, it inputs an object and identifies whether the data object is matrix. And it goes like this: matrix sample CSV. When I run this, can you tell me will it return true or false? let me show you. It returns false. Why is that? It returns false because sample CSV is created by read.csv file, which always returns a data frame. Now let me see whether this is my saying is true or false. Let me run other command that says data frame. Is it a data frame? And run the sample CSV file again. And what happens? True. It seems that sample CSV file is actually a data frame. That's the end of our learning session today. Let me briefly quickly review what we discussed. Today we talked about summary function that summarizes numeric values and produces statistics such as mean, median, max. str function outputs the structure of the given data object. nrow function produces how many rows the given data object has. Max function shows you what's the maximum value for a given data column. Min shows you what's the minimum value for given data column. Unique shows you what are unique values for a given data column. Sort shows you the sorted values for given data column. Length shows you what's the size of the given vector, which shows you what is the what are the row number for row of a row, what are rows number or what are rows number of a given data frame that satisfies the particular condition. And finally, is matrix and is data checks whether particular data object is matrix or data frame. That's all for today. I will see you in next learning session. Thank you so much.